What up, family? I know it's been a week or two since I made it. Well, maybe about a week. Um, with the whole stop whining about being called a gang and stop whining about this and that and the other and stop whining about being called a cult and all that shit. And I still completely believe that. But the individuality, even though the one thing that brings us together is we're all juggalos. It's what makes us juggalos is that we're all individuals and we have our own individual beliefs and looking at things a certain way. And but one thing that I noticed, and I haven't been able to really sit and make a video about it yet because I've just been got a lot going on. Had a bit of a freaking cold lately, so. But what I really want to kind of talk about right now is this whole, and maybe some people have seen a lot of it, maybe people haven't. So I'm just going to kind of put it together, condense it really quickly. Uh, and I'll be honest, I don't know who the guy is. I've never watched his videos before, but Punk Rock Guido. Um, he had mentioned something about dropping the hatchet or something to that effect. I don't know exactly what the story was. And then Blue, and here's the thing, I didn't even barely watch Blue's video about it either. Calling him a Juggalo for dropping the hatchet and whatever. And then Punk Rock Guido coming back, and then it was all, you know, this is this whole fucking picking sides bullshit. Ugh. It's old school against new school. This and that and the other. And if somebody doesn't agree with one thing, then so stop. Yeah, families are families. Families have arguments. Families have debates. Families have disagreements. But we're all fucking family. That's the way it's supposed to be. Now, what drew my attention most recently was Rain Man's video interviewing Punk Rock Guido. Now, number one, Rain Man, if you're gonna fucking interview somebody, quit eating your goddamn potato chips the whole fucking time. Ah, my pet peeve is like when people call me on the phone and they're eating. Oh, so I was trying to listen to Punk Rock Guido the whole time, and all I'm hearing is Rain Man in the background crunching his chips. I'm like, shut up! But seriously, a lot of things that he said made sense. I have nothing against the guy. His opinions are his opinions. But one thing that really stood out to me that I'm going to kind of make a point on. Two things actually. I go through a lot of what he went through as well, where because I'm an older juggalo, um, a lot of the newer juggalos I meet, younger juggalos, they're like, what are you fucking doing? They have this whole mentality now of that whole gangster thing. It's no longer, and that's why people have come to believe the Juggalos are a gang, is because a lot of these young bucks are out here acting a fool. So, surprise, surprise, they're going to call us that. But, he talked about how he met two young kids, and they were 18 and 19, and, they were like, or no, this was Sugar Bears, sorry. Punk Rock Guido was talking about how people had changed. So yeah, let me go backwards. Sugar Bear made a video about how two younger kids were like, fuck you, old man, what are you doing, blah, 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 blah. Well, Punk Rock Guido said something to the effect of, and if I misquote you, dude, I'm not going to quote it because I don't know exactly how he put it, but um, how he went to a show recently and it just didn't seem the same, you know? And then he brought up Spike, and that's where I kind of went, whoa, wait a minute. Spike's a sensitive kid. He says what he says, and that's his perspective. And, me and Spike have had our discussions. He knows I don't agree with some of the things he says. You know, she, he knows I don't agree. He doesn't agree with some of the things I say, but we put the fact that we're family at the forefront, and we get along because of it. So, that's my point. And he was like, when was it all about this lovey-dovey crap and juggalos aren't supposed to give a fuck about anything or anybody. That's not true. A juggalo gives a fuck about a lot of things. What they don't give a fuck about is what other people think of them. And that's where all this has gone awry. So going all through that, my main point is that he said, when did it become about about all this lovey-dovey hippie shit? And I can see where he's coming from, his comment, because back in the day it was all about serial killers and everything else. But that's the point. ICP took that mentality of serial killers and blood and fuck you and fuck the world and fuck everybody in it, and they got into your head. And I kind of wonder, I'm really curious, punk rock. What I want to know is, when you heard track 17 on Shangri-La, were you one of those guys that was like, oh man, fuck that? Were you tricked? Because that's where all that comes from. They want it to be something serious. They want to be, no, but they want that part of it to be taken seriously. And you can say all you want that it was all about serial killer, and there were serial killer clowns and blah 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 blah. But every Joker's card had very positive messages hidden in it. Every one of them. And those of us who caught that all along the way, we knew what Shangri-La was all about when we heard it. We're like, this ain't nothing new. It's been there. You just didn't see it. So stop the bullshit. Fuck, if you're old school and you think that freaking it's all about the blood and guts and murder and everything else, so be it. That's cool. And I'm old school, but I knew coming through those Joker's cards and listening to them, I knew that there was positivity in it. I knew what it was about, and that's where that comes from. And by no means am I defending Blue and what he said. By no means am I defending Punk Rock Rito and what he said, because both of them had a lot of shit to say that was in the wrong. But they also had valid points as well. I respect Punk Rock because he took the time to really, and Rain Man, although, I think you were trying to stir up a little freaking shit, I think. No, not really. But I respect the fact that you got him to talk about it, and, Punk Rock, I respect the fact that you spoke your mind. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. That's what being a juggler was about, is saying what the fuck you feel and not giving a fuck what other people think. But when it comes to juggalos, take some time to think about what they said and see it for what it is. I don't think you're a juggalo, Punk Rock. I never use that term. I hate it. Juffalo, juggalo. I hate that shit. Because it's just insulting. So I rambled enough. That's my 2 cents. It's almost like Rodney King said, "Can we all get along?" I mean, I know that's just being funny, but stop fucking fighting. Stop fucking bickering over bullshit. We're a family. Let's make it that way. Peace. Much family love.